Donald Trump talks about loyalty. He should look at the way Subaru owners cling to the brand. But we're not here to talk about the Forester because as that car has grown in every dimension, particularly in height, Subaru has spotted a gap in the market emerging underneath it. The first time Subaru jacked up the Impreza and gave it a new identity, it worked. Then the smaller, less rugged XV was born, and truly it was a car only its mother could love. Still, Subaru picked it right again, and we lapped that up too. And so, 20 years after the first Forester comes the second generation XV. Riding on the Impreza's new platform, the new XV is still, to be kind, challenging to look at. But if it's got the new and improved platform underneath, it's probably a better car. Right? Is there anything interesting about its design? I love the headline of the section. Is there anything interesting about its design? Oh boy. It's levelly ugly, which is kind of a Subaru design tradition that hasn't always worked well. People love Subarus in spite of how they look rather than because of it. This car does exactly what it says on the tin and takes us back to the quirky Subaru we know and love. A ruggedized look, a raised ride height, and lots of big chunky bits of black plastic, contrasting nicely with most of the range of flat, and all-free, color choices. It looks a bit odd in the metallics, if you're interested. The new car has sorted out the jarring bits of the old, with sleeker headlights and bigger integrated-looking LED taillights. Despite sharing not a single exterior part with the old car, it's only a mild evolution that hides its growth in wheelbase, 30mm, width, 20mm, and extra length, 15mm. Despite riding high, it no longer looks as out of proportion as its predecessor, although the 16-inch wheels look a bit lost in the wheel arches on the base spec. Inside there's been a gigantic improvement. The new dash is much easier to look at and feels a hell of a lot better. The front seats come in for particular praise from me. Most recent Subarus I've driven feature flat, uncomfortable seats. The 2.0i's contrasting cloth-trimmed seats both look good and are much more comfortable. Materials are excellent throughout and make the car feel more expensive than it really is. How practical is the space inside? With the modest aforementioned dimension growth has come a bigger cabin. This is a particularly useful selling point in this part of the market, which is dominated by Mazda's CX-3 and Mitsubishi's ASX. The CX-3's cabin is tiny, the ASX's is bigger, but it's old. Rear seat passengers are big winners in the new XV, with more legroom and headroom, although the door aperture is a little more awkward than some in the class. Boot space is probably where things fall down a bit. From a high loading lip, you have access to 310 liters, same as the old car, which isn't huge, and while the space between the wheel arches is wider, it makes for a less than accommodating volume. Bigger prams might be a stretch. Does it represent good value for the price? What features does it come with? The new XV range starts at $27,990 for the 2.0i, rising through the 2.0iL, the 2.0i Premium, and ending at $35,240 for the 2.0iS. They're all petrol and all are all-wheel drive, as is Subaru's USP, via a continuously variable transmission. My steed for the week was the 2.0i range opener, in a particularly vivid shade of orange, the hero color for the original launch of this car, and one of which owners of the first Gen XV seemed rather fond. The 2.0i comes with 17-inch alloys, a 6-speaker stereo, climate control, reversing camera, remote central locking, keyless start, cruise control, fog lamps, power windows and mirrors, rear window privacy glass, roof rails, and a space-saver spare. The interior is very much based on the Impreza's, and mercifully arrives with its upgraded bits. Subaru's Starlink powers a 6.5-inch touchscreen. Further up the range it's an 8.0-inch unit, which also has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, a rarity in compact SUVs. Of the 3 USB ports, you need to plug into the one under the dash to make that connectivity work. The 6 speakers are a bit tinny, but do the job otherwise. Our long-term Forester also suffers from tinny sound. The hardware is good, as it is in its sister car, but does take a while to boot up. What are the key stats for the engine and transmission? Common across the range is Subaru's characterful 2.0-liter 4-cylinder boxer engine, making 115 kilowatts and 196 Nm. Power is up over the old engine by 5 kilowatts to move the 1462 kilograms XV. That grunt finds its way to all 4 wheels via a refreshed CVT, with 7 steps built in to mimic a proper gearbox. How much fuel does it consume? The claimed combined cycle consumption for the XV is 7.0 L/100 km, and we got mighty close, with the usual margin for error, at 8.0 L/100 km. What's more, most of it was city running on urban motorways, 4 up, and also battling traffic and creeping for parking spaces. Not bad at all. What's it like to drive? Nobody will be surprised to read my biggest problem with the XV is its CVT. It makes what would be a slow-ish car even slower. As a concept, I dislike them in anything larger than a tiny hatchback with little torque. The XV isn't a small hatch with little torque. Having said that, the CVT is okay. Once you're moving, it behaves a bit better than in the past, but does buzz a bit and occasionally asks the engine to labor, eliciting a tappity sound that is unpleasant to the ear. It does kick down when you floor the throttle, but it takes a while, and, wouldn't you know it, I came to the conclusion a solid 6-speed automatic would be a better bet. That the CVT is the worst of it also speaks volumes about how much better this new XV is. The old car was already old when it was released. The cash-strapped Subaru, weathering the GFC, was not a company ready to throw $1 billion or $2 at a new platform. The new chassis is much stronger and stiffer, with benefits flowing to ride and handling. With a 22 cm ride height, it won't stay with cars like the CX-3 in the corners, but will leave it for dead in the slippery bits, more so when you hit the X mode button, which makes light work of heavy-going surfaces like mud and slush. On the road, the XV is much quieter and more composed, with just a rustle of wind noise and distant tire rumble. The steering is a bit isolated from the road surface, which is unnerving at first, but adds to the relaxed demeanor. What safety equipment is fitted? What safety rating? The 2.0i is fitted with 7 airbags, including driver's knee airbag, ABS, stability and traction controls, brake assist, and a 5-star ANCAP safety rating. Sadly, unlike every other car in the range, you don't get Subaru's eyesight safety system, which adds a ton of goodies including AEB, standard on all CX-3s, for example, and lane departure assist. And it's not even optional, which is disappointing. What does it cost to own? What warranty is offered? Subaru's 3-year unlimited kilometer warranty covers the XV, and your roadside assist needs are met for 12 months. Fixed price servicing is also offered for the first 3 years /37,500 kilometers, meaning you'll pay $348.50 for the first and third service and $601.59 for the second, working out at almost $1,300 for 3 years worth of visits. As the CVT has been improved and is also the only transmission available, service intervals have moved from 6 months to 12 months /12,500 kilometers.
Although the standard Subaru Impreza got a major update for 2017, switching to the new Subaru Global platform and gaining a revised engine, the WRX performance model sticks with the less high-strength steel-intensive bones of the old platform and soldiers on with a mild refresh for 2018. A next-gen WRX is still a ways off, but luckily for those in the market for a sport compact today, the current WRX is still a solid, if charmingly flawed, pick. If you're having trouble seeing what's changed for 2018, you're not alone. I thought our Pearl Blue WRX Premium Tester was a 2017 model, not the refreshed car, during my first night in it. There aren't many visual cues on the outside to tell the new car from the pre-refreshed models. Up front, the lower grille opening has been widened, and the fog light surrounds have been changed. There are plenty of changes beneath the skin, however. The suspension has been revised for improved handling and ride comfort, and the EyeSight suite of advanced safety features has been updated with new features. The interior uses new materials, and there's a new performance package option, which gets you some nice Recaro seats along with red painted brake calipers with Durant Performance front brake pads and a moonroof delete to save weight. But the drivetrain hasn't changed. The 2.0-liter turbocharged flat 4 still pumps out a healthy 268 horsepower and 259 pounds-ft of torque, and it comes mated to a 6-speed manual transmission or a CVT. Our car had the manual. Highway ride has improved, going from unforgivingly stiff to bumpy but tolerable. There's still quite a bit of tire noise from the Dunlop Sport Max RT summer tires, but their low-profile sidewalls don't seem to detract from how the car rides. They do, along with the standard symmetrical all-wheel drive system, provide Herculean grip in the turns. You feel invincible tossing the WRX into a corner as the wheels remain planted and the car keeps turning in. The brake-based active torque vectoring system is partially to thank for this. It modulates the brake of the inner front wheel to help prevent understeer. You'll still run wide if you go in too hot, but the current WRX doesn't suffer from the frustrating understeer some earlier subbies were prone to. That handling ability earned the 2018 WRX a respectable time of 25.2 seconds on our Figure 8 course. That result matches a more powerful 2015 Subaru WRX STI and beats a 2016 Volkswagen Golf R by 0.2 second and a 2015 Ford Focus Street by 0.8 second. Although it laid down a relatively fast lap, it took some effort from the driver to do so. Road test editor Chris Walton had to shuffle between second and third gear because third was too tall for our course and the car couldn't make it all the way in second without hitting the rev limiter before the turn. Frequent shifting on the Figure 8 is common for a sporty car, so having a smooth, quick shifter helps. Unfortunately, that's not how the WRX's shifter operates. The shifter is so notchy and with long throws that it really takes up valuable time, Walton said. The manual transmission's gearing combined with significant turbo lag presented some challenges on the road, as well. The engine isn't awake until about 2,500 RPMs. Before then you're just waiting for the turbo to spool up. I found myself downshifting often to get on boost quicker. And if you're slowing for a turn while in third gear, you'll almost always want to perform a rev match downshift to avoid lugging the engine. I happen to like that the drivetrain keeps you busy, but the constant shifting might be too much work for some. Back to the turbo lag. If you miss the picky turbocharged cars of yesterday, the WRX will transport you back to the days when having a turbo meant waiting patiently for it to deliver that extra dose of fun. There's not much grunt down low on the revs, but once boost kicks in, you can't help but grin. I just love that gentle whoosh sound that gradually builds in volume, not to mention the acceleration that results from it. The engine note isn't bad, but I miss the characteristic boxer rumble that older cars had thanks to their unequal length headers. Curiously, this 2018 WRX recorded a slower 0 to 60 time than expected. The car hit 60 mph in 6.2 seconds, slower than every 2015 WRX we've tested. SLL did the deed in under 6 seconds. Its quarter-mile time was more in line with other fourth-generation WRXs we've tested, however, at 14.5 seconds at 94.2 mph. The performance package brakes performed well, providing consistent, stable hard stops from 60 to 0 mph, requiring 113 feet, and fade-free braking on the figure 8. Although Subaru says the interior has been improved, it's still not likely to impress anyone. The doors feel light and close with an unsubstantial hollow sound. The dash and door panels are soft enough, and the red stitching used throughout the cabin is nice, but many of the plastics look and feel low rent. I like the machining on the aluminum radio volume and tuning knobs, but they don't offer much grip, so I found myself rotating my fingers around the knob until I found enough friction to actually turn it. Our car was equipped with a $2,050 performance package and Recaro Sport seats. Those seats provide good support for spirited driving and are comfy enough for long stints behind the leather-wrapped flat-bottom steering wheel, which fits nicely in the hands. They also lend a sharper look to the cabin with their red accented bolsters, red piping, and embroidered Recaro logos. As sporty as they look, I wasn't able to adjust my seat to a sporty driving position. With the seats dropped to their lowest level, you still feel like you're sitting pretty high, and you can't achieve that low H-point that's characteristic of a sporty car. But sitting relatively high has its benefits. You have a commanding view out of the WRX's wide-open greenhouse. I especially appreciate the extra visibility the front quarter windows and door-mounted exterior mirrors provide. The Subaru WRX isn't perfect, but it's still a performance bargain at its $27,855 starting price. Our premium model with the performance package rang up at $32,205, which still undercuts the starting price of the Volkswagen Golf R, a car the WRX can hang with in handling and acceleration, by nearly $8,000. One thing that's included with every WRX and STI is a free membership to a tight-knit Subaru community. In the week that I drove the WRX, I came across a dozen or so other subbies on the road. About 80% of drivers acknowledged me in some way, either with a nod or a thumbs up. You get this feeling of camaraderie that's hard to put a price on, and that's just a bonus to getting a car that's genuinely quick out of the box and has room for improvement if you plan on modifying. The 2018 WRX continues to offer good, old-fashioned turbo all-wheel drive fun and has some improvements thrown in to tide us over until the next-gen car arrives. We can't wait to see what a switch to the new Impreza's platform can do for the sport compact classic.